G'day everyone, welcome along. Tuesday morning here in Oz, late Monday afternoon, evening in the UK, Europe and USA, North America, wherever you're joining us from. Great to have you here. And we're gonna jump right into it in just a second. I just want to put a message in chat. There we go. Okay, chat's working. Let's just make sure we have a microphone that is working. It appears to be for me. Excellent. So let's jump into the game. We are here on Newlands. I've rolled forward into April. We have a small window in the morning to get our produce into the market before the bollards come up. And one of the things that I've been able to do since the last episode, I haven't seen them before. These are the global transport bags from 82 Studios. And why are you not connecting on there? Right spot. And they're pretty neat. They connect straight onto the front of a tool, typically a tele loader. And what have we got in this one? Looks like we've got aloe in here, which means they won't load those trees, I think. What I've done since the last episode though is just edit them a little to enable them to put trees in, because the greenhouse here is fairly prolific, which is good, but transporting the trees is to market every day is proving a little bit tedious and challenging. So I've collected a set of bags to deal with the ones that we do the most frequently. And one of the neat things about them, so they're easy enough to check. We've got strawberries in that one, lettuce, tomatoes, flowers, and cabbage. And so you can see as they fill how they expand. So we can let those fill until there's enough there to warrant taking them to market. So I'm not going to worry about messing about those trees. We've got 20,000, which should be enough. You'll remember last time we put the cow barn down. I've been able to tidy up the area around here a little. So we have 6 calves in there and a little bit of food. We have maize plus active, and I understand a little more about that than I did last time. So I've been watching some more videos from Disturbed Simulations. One of the principal things that Maize Plus does, if you're not familiar with it, is introduces 4 food types which are drawn on across the board for all animals to determine their health. And then a whole bunch of different ways to generate this food. So at first glance, my conclusion is Maize Plus is really quite complicated. However, what I think really happens is that it's not so bad, not as bad as it looks. It's more intended to model your real life choice. So therefore it's only needs to be as complicated as you want it. And so in this particular case, we've got a little bit of food in here. So they're going to go fine for now. We can concentrate on setting ourselves what food do we want to use. And so if we have a look at our Oh, we'd have to put a device on there. If we have a look at our feed mixer, we just used a standard recipe to get the first lot of food in, so the first lot of TMR. But what we can do now is tailor the recipe to what we want. And the reason it looks so complicated is because in real life, there are lots and lots of choices for how you feed animals, and different parts of the world do it differently using products that they grow there and prepare there, and different customs, the different animal types draw a difference, and then the age of the animals. So you can see there, that's the standard recipe, which has got hay, silage, straw, and mineral feed. And if we hit Y, we can change the mixture. That's the beef cattle one. Pig food, standard, realistic mixture. Oh, I might have to turn that off. There we go. And we can get the we can get a much more sophisticated choice, but the key thing that it shows there is we want corn, silage, and hay silage as minimums, and then we can choose a lot of the rest of the different products. So what I've drawn from that is we're going to collect up our grass, and I'll talk about grass in a minute. We're also going to cut this field, and if we look at our crop calendar, we want to get some corn in the ground as a minimum. So I think we'll plant the large field out in corn, and we might put a small amount of sugar beet in the field that we've just cut here, just to have a little bit of variety in the crop, and then concentrate on finding some more space to put some more grass down, because this should give us plenty of grass for the minute. We will also need to put some silage pits in, which we might do. I haven't quite decided on the area yet, so we need to make a decision. We might put them just beside here, or just on the other side. I was sort of thinking more sheds on the other side, so maybe just on the right hand side here. We can think about that as we go, but first order of business, we've got a trailer, so I'm thinking a way to pick up the various grass and forage products that we're going to have. We don't have a baler at the minute, so I'm more inclined to want to pick it up as a loose product, and that just then gives us more options with what to do with it. So I'm thinking one of the tractor attached forage harvester pickups might be the go for us. So that we can just play it by ear as to sort of how things unfold. We can also test things out a little bit. So we will just see how all of that goes. Let's pop up here. And have a look in the store. So I think so forage headers There's that one. The one I was thinking about is not there. So which category is it under? It might be in balers, loaders, levelers, silo. It might be in belt systems actually. There it is. This one was the one I was thinking about because it picks up a pretty wide variety of product, including all of the Maize Plus categories. So I think that's going to be the most versatile for us. G'day, Star Rainbow. Welcome along. Thanks for dropping in. I am very well, thank you. I hope you are well also. And I suspect there is another stream or 2 or 3 running around the place. It's very quiet in here today, but great to have you along. So I think we will lease one of these and see how we go with it. That's the plan. So what we... G'day, Cranky. Welcome along. Great to see you. I'm just in the process of driving up to the wrong side of the forage header. I have been doing a little bit more research on Maize Plus, and I'm not quite as bamboozled by it as I was. So the first order of business today is to pick up the grass we cut last time and then cut the next load. And so to that end, I've procured this loading device, which we'll try out, which seems to take all of the Maize Plus products, or pretty much anything it'll pick up off the floor. So that's good. We already have a trailer that we can put things in. We've got a couple of choices for trailer actually. And our first order of business, well, we've got to do some planting. Oh, that was the other thing that I needed to do while I was back there. I needed to organise a planter for corn because I don't think we have one. So I've decided we're going to put corn in the big grass field after we've cut that shortly. And we're going to plant some sugar beet in this little grass field here because we should have plenty of grass for the minute. And those three, so the combination of barley with those 2 crops should be a good start for us. The conclusion I've drawn is one of the reasons that Maize Plus looks so complicated is because it's designed for to cater for all the differences and variations that exist around the world in how farmers prepare food products for animals. Why is that not going on there? What's going on here? There we go. And as a result, it's not that you have to do all those things, but what you feed animals in different stages of their life varies quite dramatically around the world, depending on available products and practices and breeds and all sorts of things. And so in trying to make it more of a realistic simulation, the Maize Plus creators have put a whole bunch of that stuff in, and that's what makes it all look so complicated. So let's just get this started. Now, pipe out would be O. And we don't want to hire a worker. We want to turn it on. We want to lower it. No, it is. it is working. It just doesn't appear too low to the ground. So that's the general gist with Maze Plus. It looks a little bit weird in terms of the flickery display at the bottom, but we won't worry too much about that. Obviously, one of the mods is unhappy. And this seems to be picking up. So we're picking up wet grass here. And we can make regular silage from this if we drop it in a pit. And so the next thing we might have to think about is a pit, because our trailer is almost full. The other thing I learned was that we could have given the cows this wet grass directly and the hay, and that would have fed them. We didn't actually need to make a TMR mix. The sort of TMR is one level of sophistication behind freshly cut grass mixed with hay. So there, that's the order of things. Now, I'm thinking about where to put the silage clamp. Let's just get this out of the way. You'll be pleased to see, Cranky, I have cleaned up slightly. So we've got, I've gotten rid of the trees. I've moved some stuff around. I've still got some hay bales there. We need to put a manure pit. I'm thinking in this corner here is the ideal spot for it. We don't have any straw at the moment, so it's not a super priority. We'll move this out of the way. I'm thinking on the other side there might be the spot for a silage pit. Let's see. Where's silos? Probably a bunker silo, I'm thinking, rather. Silage pit, bunker silo. And I've got a few different options. They are wildly varying in price. So 100,000. Oh, that's a manure heap. Who would have thought? Bunker silo. 35. So they're a bit expensive. We might have to hit the bank manager up. I thought I had more of those. Have I not activated them? We might have to jump out. I thought I'd gone to the trouble of selecting a bunch. The other thing we can do is go and get the other tractor and move that bin. Hope everyone's having a good week. It looks like our weather, fingers crossed, might have slightly turned here in Melbourne. We are actually expecting a day which looks much more like proper spring verging on summer come the weekend, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that that is heralding a change. Now let's back you onto there. Am I close enough? Yes, I got you. No, I did not. I aren't. Why are you not? Is that container around the wrong way? It is. Excuse me for a moment. I'm going to do this. I probably could have just hoisted it out of the way, but we'll pick it up on the truck. Load it up and move it out. I learned an interesting thing about these containers. I bought this one with the intention of filling it up with just the wood off cuts that I could pick up by hand. Seems that doesn't work. Wood falls straight through it, and so I got the container what I would have expected to be half full, and picked it up to take it across to the wood chip place that we've set up, and it loaded on the trailer perfectly and left the pile of wood on the ground, so it's a bit annoying. So the best of intentions. So I'm thinking this spot in here might be a good spot to start putting some bunker silos. That's probably leftovers of the wood. I'll just whack it over there. There's more wood to clean up around the place. So if we duck out for a second, let it save, that's fine. Just to be sure. Yes. And I thought I had selected a bunch of, let's see here, I just hadn't activated them. So that's the issue. Diesel station, dump truck. Right line we don't want. Feed production we don't want. I got a range of different things that I thought might be useful for our emerging enterprises here. A couple of balers, the mower. It's very easy to drown in mods. There's Omatana's TARDIS, which will be useful when we can afford it. The Mahindra manure plates. Don't want the animal add-on. So there is some animal changes that are in the base Maze Plus ad, and then there's a sort of a 10 times version here. And the reason they've separated is it gives you an easy ability to edit it to how you want it to be. I'm not feeling the need to do that. Here's all our manure heaps, our balers. The Riberi. We do need to put a fuel tank in at some point. That's why those are all there. Right. Now we can get back on with it. Sorry about that. I should have done that before I jumped into the game. I had all the work done. I just forgot. Rightio, we're loading up. All the bits are in the green from YouTube for the minute, so that's good. And we're back in the game. So now if we have a look at some silos and things. What have we got here? So silos. Now we have heaps more. So I think a close end one is the right thing for this situation. Oh god, that's enormous. He might be a little on the large side. He's gotten very carried away with those. Maybe a bit further down the track. And let's see. Bunker silo. Just it kind of dwarfed our little cow pen here, which seems a bit silly. What have we got here? No, maybe that. Oh, that's. I don't know why they do that. So that'll only position on the 90-degree. Here's some maize plus ones. Okay, these look better. But they're also only on the 90-degree, which is fine as long as you've got your buildings on the 90 degrees. It's just a little bit annoying. What about this corner? That's a manure heap. Manure. Yeah, I reckon that manure heap will we'll go for a cheaper one when we need it. We'll do a square one like that. I think there's something like this, which is more capacity than we'll ever need. And that one's too big. Even something like that will fit. Why am I having trouble with getting stuff to rotate? There we go. That one's also on the 90s. I might have to edit these. Old manure pack. That's a wall. That's a corner. Yeah, see, something like... There we go. Something like that will go in the corner there perfectly and do the job. And at 80,000 litres, our cows aren't going to produce... Well, this set of cows aren't going to produce that much. So, that's fine. That's all the fuel stations. So, surprisingly, for all those choices, we didn't get as many bunker silos as I hoped for. If they're that large, I'm inclined to whack them in here. Where's everything on the 90-degree? I just don't understand. There's no... That's just lazy programming. Failing to take advantage of features in the game. I'm presuming brought from other versions of the game and just not bothered to update. I'm not feeling the love with some of these, to be honest. I was expecting that size is better. Maybe we just put it over here and just live with the fact that it's crappy angle. We'll sort of just hide the fact that it's come down. Sort of pop it in something like so, and it won't look too bad. Oh, bugger, it is manure too. Well spotted. But that's the right size device. Too big. Too big. It's still manure. Maybe we've just got to do it with one of these. Just that the Besser blocks that it's done out of are not to scale. Or to, sorry, they're to the wrong scale and they just look crappy to me. But we need to do something, so this is probably the best option we've got. It doesn't tell me how big it is. 20,000, so we can figure out how to do that by taking a loan. I think it's reasonable that the bank would extend us some credit, given that we've got the garden centre up and running. So let's do that. And come back here. Find that guy again. And just pop you down something like so. Overlaps with another object. I don't know. Is it? What do you think you're overlapping with, Sport? How big an area do you clear around yourself? Let's have a look here. Strange. Is there a stump in there? Nobody can see a stump, can they? What we can do, let's paint that out. Make sure we're not dealing with something unexpected. What are you overlapping with? Oh, unless it's doesn't, maybe it doesn't like. No, I've taken that. No, I haven't taken that down. Maybe it doesn't like this. So let's collapse you. I have found it's not consistent, but there are a handful of things that just get a bit confused if the yarder is running over the top of them. Right, so silos, yes, there we go. Man, it doesn't like it. And I suppose it doesn't really matter. I can put on manual placement or free place mode. Let's just do that. We've stuffed around long enough. But then what I want to do is what it probably would have done if I'd put it down properly. And let's put, what's that? Asphalt, concrete. Because I can't imagine you'd put one of these down and not put a concrete floor in it. There we go. So now we have a little bunker silo. It doesn't tell me how much it'll take. Maybe I've got to pop some grass in it. Let's see. That may also be the downside of pre-placement. Maybe it's upset it, but we'll see in a second. It's all about learning. Does anyone else find it a bit creepy the way the the boom arm kind of hunts for somewhere to... I just... sort of like it's got a mind of its own. It's the farm sim version of the Day of the Triffids. That probably dates me a little. Oops. Come on. Get over there. Now, I'm intrigued by the fact that I haven't got a dump trigger. Backing into a silo, I should have a dump trigger, yeah? Oh, I'm getting a compact in message. That's better. So, I feel better about that. So, control I, action cannot be performed here. Wonderful. Because of the way I placed it, I'm betting. How can I... There's no... Anybody got any clever ideas how I can force that to tip there? It's because the ground type's not correct, isn't it? Well, no. So that's, if I control I, it tells me I can't perform here. That's the message I'm getting. And I've not done much tipping to the ground, so I haven't messed with what do you need to change in order to allow something to tip to the ground. Where will it allow me to tip? So it'll let me tip out here, it just won't let me tip in that bunker silo. Maybe you can't... You're not allowed to put grass in. Oh, that's ridiculous. Wet grass is supposed to be able to be turned into silage. That is very odd. Okay. New plan just for the minute. We will solve that later when we've got time to think about it. New plan is to grab a silo that will take grass. That will let me take anything that expensive if I can avoid it. I don't think I have a choice. I didn't put any of those in because I wasn't intending. It could be because it's wet grass. But I thought that was the whole thing with Maize Plus. I haven't opened. Whoops. I'm just going to scroll the screen if I try and do that. Just hang on. If I try and switch to my other screen here, where I have my little Maize Plus cheat sheets. And they are right here. And fresh grass, which is what we've got, yes. Mower conditioner, grass mowing, grass making hay, tipping in the bunker silo. Okay, that is the reason. You cannot put it in the bunker silo. You have to condition the grass in order to put it in the bunker silo. Right. So, to condition the grass, so let's just drop you here for the minute. Good call, Frankie. That's why multiple inputs are much appreciated. And I'm convinced that's the thing with this Maize Plus stuff. It's just a matter of getting your head around the process you want to use and not worrying about the inputs that you don't actually need. So if we take you off there for a minute, we go back to the store. When we cut the other field, we can condition the grass. But for now, we will... Pretty sure I didn't buy a tedder earlier. No tedders there. No tedders there. I've got a windrow, right. So what we'll go and do at the store is we'll grab a tedder, which we're going to need in the long run anyway. And we'll grab the planter for the corn. And then we're in good shape. And what we can do with the tedder, if I've understood it correctly, is we can run that over the cut grass. And no worries, Cranky. And we can use that to condition the wet grass. We could have, if I'd set the mower properly, conditioned it straight out of the mower, I think. But this step will work. And then we can put our conditioned grass in the bunker silo. That is the plan. So, headers. 7,000 for you, 16,000 for you. You are 8.79. 6.19. 3.5. That's a bit weenie. Let's go with 9 meters for 16.5, which we will lease for now. And then we want a planter. It's nothing in the sales, is there? No, there is not. That'd be a better forage wagon. Interesting. 44 meters. We'll ponder that while we're preparing. Planter. What are you? You're 6 meters. Don't think we can afford. You're 8 meters. You're good, but I think we'll go with the 6 meter. We'll take you for now. You do all the things we want to plant, so we'll lease one of those. Right. Okay. We will need to come back and get a whole bunch of seeds, but we can do that shortly. In fact, it would be useful to buy the seed tender, I think, because we're out of seed at the garden center as well, so we need a truckload of seed, which is part of the use I want to put the barley to when we harvest it in a couple of months. We're inching forward. Let's turn around. Pop our seeder up here because we're going to need that soon anyway. Let's put our header down there. Put the help menu on because I think I need to change the function of the tedder so that we get the right. We want conditioned header stage, base game conditioned. That's what we want. So that was the Y key. And so now we turn you on, we get a different state. And it might, if we're lucky, still have a swath that's the right size. G'day, Jason. Welcome along. Frankie's just popped out. Star Rainbow is watching, and there are others, I believe. Let me just reduce my little, whoops. No, let's not do that. Let's go back to that picture. There are a couple of others lurking in the background, which is great to see. Really nice to have people along. We're continuing to learn about an Untangle Maze Plus. So we've put down a bunker silo. We've realised that we can't put wet grass into the bunker silo. And we are now have a tedder which we're using to turn our wet grass into conditioned grass. We could have done that when we cut it if we've got a conditioning capability on the mower, but I didn't realise that was required. But once we've got this picked up, we can set about mowing the other fields. And I can investigate storage options for the different grass types during the week, because I didn't load any reasonable priced silos in. You can absolutely jump ahead. You can see on the left hand side in the help menu there's a tedder stage, and I've selected conditioned. You can choose from any of the 4 states with the tedder. And it simply takes the input and produces the output. It's not more or less than that. I have not tried going backwards. We can do that in a second. I don't believe I can go back to wet grass, but I can probably change it to any of the 3 post wet grass states. Righto, so I was just trying to carefully maintain my rows here just to make things easier to pick up. Let's just drop you off, because you will probably be required again later. Come back around here. So we've got a pile of wet grass there. I learned a little trick from watching Disturbed Simulation. I don't know if others know it, but if you have a trailer with a grain door on it, you can make a pseudo windrow to lay it back out again and run the tedder over it if you want, which we might do in a bit. So now if we turn you on, you should pick conditioned grass up, which you are doing fairly well. Yeah, so as I get sort of more familiar with the documentation of things, I think they've done what they can within the limitations of the game. And I suspect, given it's quite a large community that produces this add-on, that there's lots of debate about those sorts of things. And they've certainly tended to fall down on that. If somewhere someone in the world uses this or does it like this, then we'll put that capability there alongside everything else so that people have the choice. You're not picking up anymore. Okay, so I've managed to pick up. That's right. So that's a bit annoying. I managed to pick up a little bit of wet grass, which now means my header won't pick up anything else. And can I get... No, it doesn't need to lower. It's, if you look at the... First of all, it doesn't lower. That's just a vagary of this device for some reason. It does lower. What's going on there? I'd tell a lie. Maybe that is... Maybe it will self-empty, but if you look at the bottom, it's got some wet grass in it as well as the trailer has the conditioned. Will it turn it? No, it's still the same problem. So the fact that I had it raised was not the immediate issue. Can I get it? To... if I control I, that'll be the trailer. No, I want the pickup. My screen is slightly zoomed. Hang on a sec. Let me try and... What's going on here? It is very ever so slightly zoomed, isn't it? Is that better? I don't know why that happened, but that should be better. So how do I get that out of there? I've got to take the trailer off, and then can I now control I? How do I empty that? I need a device that'll empty in. No. I need, oh, I know what I can do. Will you dump into that thing over there? No, because you don't recognize that. Unload here, control I. Right. Got no idea why it would patrol eye over there, but no, oops, didn't want to pick you up. You are empty, turn you off. So we're learning some things about this tool. It's not selective about what it picks up. It is selective about where it unloads. And it means if when you're heading the field you miss any, you run the risk of having happen what just happened there. Right, so if we turn you on again, and we're back cooking with gas. F1, and let's line up our yes, it is a skid steer bucket. Oh, sorry, it might. I've got both skid steer and front loader stuff, and I can't remember which attachment is on which. Watch the bottom corner. Okay, thank you. By and large, it's working pretty well. It's just a matter of getting used to. Oh, I see those little patches there. At least the colors are pretty different. So if I turn you off when I come off the field like that, that's a safer way to navigate through those little bits, because there's another little bit there that I would have driven right over the top of. And wait till I get back. And then, there you go, that's safer. So as I turn at the end of the field, just remembering to turn it off is the trick. So this is picking up pretty quick. Exactly, yes, they do. It's different machines, I guess, are coded with different tolerance for conditions. I think once a baler's running, it's just it actually takes it doesn't, as long as it's able to pick up what's in front of you, it doesn't actually care what it is. Right, so that's full. We've got 2 little stripes to go. So now, all being well, we should be able to tip this in our newly placed bunker silo. Come on, champ, round you come. Some idiot put a big pile of grass there just to make it more challenging. Presumably was a bit frustrated by the fact that that wouldn't tip in here. Now, okay. Get this last little bit. Don't go off the field. Excellent. Oops. So let's drop you in as well. We're not going to cover it yet because we'll get some more off the other field when we cut it. Come on, up and over, up and over, up and over. Good eye. So what do we got there? So this silo is not as big as I thought it was. We have 25,000 litres at 1%, and I'm looking at the size of this pile thinking it'll only go to about 50,000, so it's not so bad given the number of cows we've got. So the job I want to get going with, did I put the tender in here? Where feeders maybe? Augers. That's the one I want. Do you hold? 7 cubic meters. That'll be enough for the moment. I wanted to use this for a while. I thought it was a really nice mod from Dogface, I think. So we're going to lease. Yeah, we're going to lease one of these in the hope that it comes up. They're not very expensive. Then we're going to purchase a whole bunch of seed. And we're going to duck back now over the shop. And grab the seed because we can then get the other tractor going, planting sugar beet on that little bit of grass there. And we can set to cutting the larger fields in the pattern that we want. And preparing it because we'll put corn into that one. I've probably got I probably can't direct seed over that grass either. I probably need to cultivate it. Which will require a cultivator. Just as well the bank manager extended us some credit. All this stuff you need to set up a farm. Who knew? Rightio, so let's load you up. Hey, it's only money. Watched a pretty interesting episode on Laura Farms. She ran through her expenses for the last calendar year, which was obviously quite a thing she found quite stressful to do, particularly as it, I guess, as a young 20-something-year-old burning through $1 million is a really big deal. She didn't cover the revenue side, which was fair enough, but it certainly would feel like you were just pumping money out the window for a while. All the rest of that seed that we've got back there will go into our distributor over at the garden centre, because we need more seed. I do like this mod though. I reckon he's done a terrific job. It looks fabulous. Even the tension and stretch on the cover looks really good. Okay, so we'll set you up over here. Now, what have I got in terms of tools over there? I don't want to plow it. That was a direct drill, and I'm pretty sure the planter will not direct drill. Let's have a look. No, it will not. Let's unfold you. Let's not unfold. Oh, let's see. Where's his fill spot like? Wipe out feeds. It's got a nice high fill extension. Oops. And a pretty good fill plane. G'day Tenor, welcome along. I'm not too worried about fertilizer for the moment. I'm pretty sure though We don't want corn, we want sugar beets. And I'm pretty certain I cannot direct seed. And I am correct. So let's get you off there. Let's take a different tractor across to the store. So we're continuing our Maize Plus learning journey, along with trying to get our fields sorted in our spring planting. We're just putting a little bit of sugar beet in this field. We've had some fun and games so far this morning with placing a bunker silo, wet grass. We've now conditioned the grass. We've got a big pile of wet grass that we'll have to sort out, because I didn't read the fine print. You can't put wet grass into the bunker silo in order to make silage, although you can feed wet grass direct to cattle, direct to cows. So if you give them wet grass and hay, that's a basic feed combination. So we're just going to get ourselves a cultivator of some description so we can rip that field. Anybody got any recommendations for what I should use to prep? Because we're going to be sowing over grass field on both of those fields. Cranky, you can duck out, I'm sure, to have dinner and do anything you like, mate. But we missed you. We have managed to pick up all the conditioned grass. So I'm thinking just a regular run-of-the-mill cultivator will do the trick here. There is not yet anything of use in the straw. That crone might be a good pickup too. They're all a bit pricey. I'm inclined to go with my stock favourite. And we'll take advantage. We've made a few trips over here today. Feels like a weekend project with my visits to Bunnings. Not familiar with the Australian marketplace. Bunnings is kind of our Home Depot, all things hardware and garden. Do-it-yourselfer supermarket. And home projects back in the day used to require many trips to Bunnings. Although a good piece of advice from my father when I got married has served me fairly well. So his suggestion was, every time you've got a project you've got to do around home, buy one of the pieces of equipment that you need in good quality, and after a few years you'll have a pretty good collection and a far reduced requirement to buy stuff when you need to fix things. And that's worked out pretty well. And along with the advent of YouTube, there's so many helpful ways. So let's see if we can cultivate this edge without actually tearing up our barley field. That'd be a good start. I'm going to put it. I'm going to put a worker on it until I've just done a couple of strips up here. We must be right on the horsepower limit for this 7810. It's struggling with gear selection. And that's not so bad. And I'll also do the road edge because I don't want to just forget about it and have it jump the road and end up in the field over there. I haven't looked into at all what sheep will require from Maize Plus. I've only explored cows at this stage, but I'm thinking we'll put a sheep pen in the little loop of the railway up there like we touched on last time, so that'll be once we get our cows completely sorted. And when we've got the process down, and this is just about getting enough fields and the sort of the constituent products under control. Once we've got that sorted, we'll then we can expand the number of cows, milk cows we're running. Didn't think there was any benefit to being eaten out of house and home before you actually figured out what you need to be preparing. So if you go down there, okay, so that can trundle through that. Now what we want to be doing is take you off there, zip over here to our mower. And now if I look at that, so I've got a new option for the mower that comes with Maize Plus, so I can go without conditioner, which will get me wet grass, or I can go with conditioner, which will now get it in that conditioned state, so I don't have to run the tedder over. So what I'm thinking is I probably want about half this field hay and half of it conditioned so that we can make silage. That sort of feels like the plan. So what I'm going to do is we've got the conditioner on. So that, what does that mean? That means that I mow it all and then I ted half of it to make hay, doesn't it? I think that's the trick. And so what we'll do here this field here, create job, CP field work. That's correct. It's just the wrong device. Work width 10.5 feet. Let's do 4 headlands. Start work on the headland, sharp corners clockwise. Yep. Cool. Thanks, Jason. So, rows to skip, no bypass, generate the course. That'll work. Where is the start position? Somewhere near here. That tree is on the field, which won't make life. I don't think we've got too many others there. What's that? It's just a bush. Cleaned up most of it. Right. He looks like he's underway. And that's giving me what we want. Okay. I think. Yeah, that's the right color. Goodo. So what we can... So we want to fill this up, which means we need another load of conditioned grass, but we're short tractors. Okay. There were no tractors in the sale. How's he doing over here? This guy's going to be finished shortly. You're all set up, ready to go. Right. Making progress through the list. We're just short a piece of driving equipment. Oh, what I did want to experiment with, we're just going to lift that carefully out of the way. If it's a log grab, so we'll put you over with the logging equipment. We'll find out, per Jason's question before, which attachment I've got on this bucket. I have got the skid steer. Right. Now, my understanding is that I can pick this up in here. Which really interesting. Why did you not give me all of it? You did give me all of it, so... And that's bizarre. So 503 litres was what I dropped there. But it's still showing me some as sitting there. Interesting. I'm thinking that's a bug. Now, if we have a look at our animals, my understanding is I can take wet grass and it will top up base food, moisture food, and power food. Try lifting the teeth, you think? Okay, I'll try that in just a sec. So what we're going to see, so if I put hay in, that adds roughage. That's what I did at the beginning. My understanding is wet grass will fill the other three. So let's keep an eye on 6804, 1640, 820. And if we go in here with our wet grass, then drop you on the floor, would appear you've gone in somewhere. And it did. It added to the other three categories. So one of the things that just tells us is if we just want to top up the food, we only need wet grass and hay. If we want to go to the trouble and the realism of making a mix, you can see the formula that are possibilities that are there. And my thinking is when we can make the corn silage, which is at the top of that list, and the whatever that hay product is, I can't remember what it's called, and I haven't got my Maize Plus cheat sheet up on the board, but it's the second one down. We need those two products, and then we can decide what we're going to fill it out with, like some sugar beet and a couple of other products. You don't need all the products on the list. You just make the mix out of the what you choose to feed them. So that's good to know. And it also means now teeth up, you reckon, was the trick. Okay, let's see if there shouldn't actually be anything more on the ground over here. I don't think I dropped more than 500 litres. Oh yeah, there was. Good call, Frankie. Oh, that's bizarre. That's another 500 litres. Weirdly, exactly the same amount. I'm sure that's a bug. Because we've just picked the same load up twice. Okay, so we're making a little bit of progress here. Now, we won't get milk out of these cows until they get to 18 months. So if we want milk, we need to put some older cows in. I can count on you to be on the ball, Frank and Cranky. Thank you very much. This guy thinks he's finished. He lies. maybe. I'm still not sure why it let me pick up the first 503 litres with the teeth down and then wouldn't let me pick up the rest. Something weird was going on. And it was curious that it was two amounts the same. Maybe as Cranky said, the game had sort of dropped them as two separate piles. Who knows? Who knows? For those that weren't here at the start, over in our garden centre, oh, okay, that could have been the case. I thought I picked it up off the ground, but you could absolutely be right, because there is a pipe there in proximity, so I could have misread it. Would not be the first time. But over at the garden centre, I've bought a bunch more global transport pallets because I've adjusted the XML so that it now takes all of the different products that the garden centre produces. My rationale being, whilst the trees are physically big, it just gives us a more practical way to move them, so it'll put 10,000 litres, you know, so 10 pallets worth of those trees in a transport container, which I can move with my truck to the market. So it just means that at the start of each game day, I don't have quite so many trips. I can let the automation run with the deliveries. We're paying a worker to do that. We've got all of the equipment, so I think it's moderately realistic, and the way it bundles them up, I'll show you in a second, kind of works for my head of what we're doing here. And there are a couple additional features of the global transport pallet that I didn't completely understand and therefore didn't demonstrate last time, which I will show off in just a sec, which I think, you know, just fills out the mod and makes it kind of a neat thing. I'll just finish getting this cultivated. I think this little smidge of field here will be quite a reasonable amount of sugar beet for our little operation. Right-ho. For those that didn't catch it, that might have been watching the Adelshoven series, I did a bit of an experiment last night, so 12 hours or so ago, and instead of doing the 24th episode as a video, I did a stream for 2 hours in the Australian evening, but I did the same content as I would have done for a video, and that seemed, we had a few people come along. Yes, can absolutely put the bunker, the sugar beet into the bunker silo. That was part of the thinking, was to experiment with a little bit of that. We can add it to the feed mix directly. There's a couple of ways that we can use it, so I thought we want to explore that part of Maize Plus. But yeah, the so I ran sort of for 2 hours at the same speed I would normally play in the video, and pretty much progressed a game day on Adelshoven instead of cutting a video. Now, for those that want to watch it as a video, it's a stream that is released, and it'll just run for a little bit longer, and so you can skip through any bits that you don't want to see what we were harvesting. So if you're watching that, that's where episode 24 is, and I've put it in both the streams and the playlist category. And so as far as continuing the experiment, I'm going to keep going with a 1 day a week. Probably I'll see how it goes, but probably on that same time slot on a Monday evening for the minute, just for 2 hours. And we had a couple of people. Jason was able to pop in. There were a couple of folks that I'd not met before that seemed to enjoy it. So it's oops, I'll just back you up here. So it was just a bit of a different way to do it, and what it kind of allows me to do, and what I was really experimenting with, was the stuff that I would normally have done as setup for the video, and then actually the video itself I just did all in one go. And when it's such a simple farm and yard, and it's to start from scratch, it kind of seemed to work. I wasn't role playing anything. It was just a really basic let's play on a map that I quite enjoy. So we'll see where that runs. Now, the question is, how safe do I trust you on course play? Let's have a look. Create job. I have a field. The grass field is defined. So we could go with that. Let's go this way. Work width looks good. Two headlands. Start work on the head. Start work on the headlands or start work on the field? I suppose if we're seeding, the way you would normally do it is you would do the interior of the field first, and then you would do the headlands, wouldn't you? So what if we start in the center? Let's go for something like that. You want to start at the other end, so that's fine. I've got the correct crop selected. We'll let you find your way. And that gives us a bit longer just to watch how he goes, and increases the margin for error of staying out of the field. The other one seems to be progressing pretty well, even though he's only got a dinky little front mower on there getting through that field. I need to tell you that you can proceed without fertilizer. Right. Yep. The advantage of there being a 10-second delay between the stream and real life is that I get to realize my mistake really before you tell me what the problem is. And so it's only it only becomes an issue is if I have absolutely no idea and then I'm waiting for your answer. But if you weren't aware, that looks like, because I've now got enough information up and I know how to read it, that it tells me it's about a 10-second lag between YouTube and real life. Okay, so that's working fine. We can turn that off. So we come back here. Oh, I was all ready to go. So that's a global transport pallet there. One of the things is it will connect direct to, so you don't need an attachment or anything, which makes them easy to work with in the yard. And it does have a cover, so if you want to ship them, I need that Z, it'll put a box on them. No, please feel free to toss the help, because more often than not I actually need it. So I thought that looked pretty cool, the way you could cover stuff and take it off, and equally I don't mind it with the frame and unwrapped. And so the idea here is that I can get 10 of these into a pallet, and then I've just got one pallet to load. Oops. Load on the back of the truck. And so, for instance, around the side here. Oops, I managed to open the door there somehow. So for these trees, which I was only getting 2 in the tray there, yeah, they are flat pack trees to an extent, but because it's so fiddly to load them to the it won't auto load while it's there by the looks, but it will auto load there. No, let's see, position's the issue. No, there's only one in there. That's a eucalyptus, isn't it? Maybe I've got to put it, I can't remember what I included. Or maybe I've actually got to pick up the, I had this sorted the other day. Why is it misbehaving? Oh, there we go. It's just about getting that. Needs to be fractionally off the ground. No, yes. Just a little touchy on its loading spot. But I can get it to load, which is a good thing. And let's stop that there and see if I can get it to load. Maybe if I pick it up from the side, maybe that's the, because that's the other thing, is you can pick them up on all sides. No, it doesn't. Oh, there it is. That's what I wanted. And so you can see I've lined them up over there. So I've got one for each type of produce, and I thought it was quite reasonable. Yes. That's correct, Jason. But I haven't figured out how to tell which is which. And I noticed that there's an update that 82 Studios has put out, which includes all the products from Platinum. So there you go. So that's my logistics improvement for the yard here, because it just makes all the products that the garden centre produce easier to deal with. So with these, when they get I've sort of mentally set the bar at when I get 3,000 litres of vegetables in any one of these, then I'll transport those to the market for sale. But there's one for each product. There's one over there for each type of... I actually need another one because I've got bamboo and aloe vera growing at the minute. There's the aloe vera and there's the bamboo. I've activated another one of these now that we've sort of got a solution in place. And if we look at the outputs over here, so that's why I bought so many seeds. We need those. We'll need some more solid fertilizer. Once we get some straw, we'll start getting manure. And we're doing better on the taro. That's the other thing, is we can put conditioned grass in our taro manufactory. So we will do some of that also. In fact, if I lay it out and turn that pile that I've got on the ground from wet grass into conditioned grass, we'll run that over here. So that's kind of the state of play. Look overhead, it says on the bag itself. Yeah, auto load discharge. See, it's amazing the things you see when you're watching as distinct from playing. Very interesting. The brain is very clever. So having it round the right way means it will work the way we thought. So let's try. The other thing that I like about this is, from a materials handling standpoint, what do I want to do? I want you that way. This. Is it ignores the weight. Well, I figured it would be there somewhere, because 82 Studios is a really smart guy, and I just love the way he thinks about some. Watch a couple of his streams and just how he thinks about stuff. Now what I'm hoping is that's going to be close enough that when that next tree spawns, it will auto load, but we'll experiment with that. Yeah, but because it ignores the weight, it means that actually this JCB can move these pallets of trees around, which I was having a trouble with. It's not that I have a problem having the right gear, it's just there's only so many pieces of stuff you want to be dealing with and still have fun while you're playing. So that's how the materials handling side of the business is set up. And we're out of seed or fertilizer is still our limiting factor, so we'll get that back and get those looking a little bit healthier. Force players blocked by an object. Thank you. What are you up to? Have you finished? You haven't finished. On the pallet to only load from one side and discharge. Oh, yes. Right, so sorry, just catching up on chat. Now, why? What are you doing? You're not quite on the course I thought you were on, but never mind. That will do. I can come back and fix. How's the other one going? You've managed to not nuke our prop, even if it is a really weird angle for you to be driving there, Chief. Yeah, you're just finishing your up and downs. You might keep an eye on him. Hasn't taken long to seed that one. So we'll, with any luck, just get this finished for the episode. It's been some good progress. We've solved a couple of issues. He's going to go and do the last headland now by the looks. So much easier having you guys helping me, so thank you very much for that. And also to everybody in chat and to might see this stream afterwards, thank you so much for having a look at Silver Run Forest Farm. Episode 2 has been very widely viewed, so just astonishing numbers in the hundreds, which is unlike any other video. So that's really cool, and would be interesting to see. I'm hoping to get episode 3 out today or tomorrow, how we go with that one. So I'm really enjoying farming on Silver Run Forest. Enjoying the farming more so than the woodwork, to be honest. Yeah, I think, well, thank you for that, Cranky. I think something must have changed in the YouTube algorithm to just suddenly go to so many more people actually looking at it. It's nice and just a really big shock. Now I'm going to stop you right there, Chief, because you're going to drive over my crop despite your instructions. And to be honest, I was pretty chuffed with episode 2 because the my loading idea for the wood chipper worked a treat. Took a bit of fiddling around to get it so that I could, the way I had it in my head, didn't, first couple of things like getting the levels right. See you, Star Rainbow. Thank you for coming along. We'll be finishing up here in a minute. I just missed a little bit at the other end. Yeah, I think people have underestimated, or I think a lot of commentators misrepresented your ability to farm, and Giants didn't really make it that easy to to see it. And by doing things like not having an animal dealer and that sort of stuff, I think they did themselves out of it. But there are actually plenty of flat areas on the map once you start to look for them. You don't have to deforest everything. Maybe not dead flat, and that's what we'll explore in a couple of coming episodes, I hope, is your options to use the terrain a little bit differently. But also there's some odd kind of features. So I've seen quite a lot of commentary about Silverrun, you know, that, oh, well, you can't put placeables here and there, and, you know, there's not enough flat areas for placeables. And yeah, part of me is in complete agreement, Jason. The only problem is that it just feels like the location is too far north for vines. It's not quite the right weather, but I might get there with vines. We'll see. I'm not sure. Jason's kind of Jake rather, it strikes me as a kind of steak and potatoes sort of guy more so than a vine guy. Paige could be, but she's pretty keen on her horses, so we'll have to see how that unfolds. But yeah, as I was saying about placeables, there are some definitions on the map. Whilst you can't buy the town area and a couple of the other, like there's some quite big swathes that you can't buy, you can actually build stuff on it. Ice wine, that's true. Sauv Blanc with an ice block in it, maybe. Heaven help us. I've discovered that you can place things all over the place. So for instance, if you try and put the ore furnace right beside the mine, you can position it there, you can put it down. The only problem is because the ore furnace takes its input from the it picks up from the ground, you can't actually drop the ore and it won't pick up directly from the pile. So you've got to put it onto land that you own. Now you can achieve that by turning it around and buying the plot that immediately surrounds the land, for example. So you can fiddle around. There are spots in town where if you cut a few trees, and you can cut trees in town, I discovered, without having to own it, where you can put buildings down between buildings, for instance. And as long as they don't need to draw anything from the ground, they'll quite happily operate. So I think there's the upshot of all of that is there's possibilities to do things on Silverrun that people aren't thinking about because they've kind of got the mindset and that it has to operate in a particular way, and I don't think it does at all. G'day, Vunda. Welcome along. You've managed to arrive, sir, right at the end of the stream, but it's wonderful to see you. Thank you very much for popping in. We're just finishing mowing this field. We've produced conditioned grass, and next time we're gonna head half of it and pick up half of it so that we can get our silage sorted. But yeah, almost done. How's he going there? Oh, he's got a little bit to go, so I might I recommend experimenting, Cranky. For instance, with the I see where lots of people are putting their ore refinery. My suggestion would be, if you even want to put an ore refinery down, buy the parcel of land that immediately surrounds the mine, and there's a little plateau just near the top of the hill, barely sort of 50 meters from the ore drop on the mine, that becomes your land, and you can put the refinery right there. And so instead of having to cart it across town, as Mr. Sealy P is doing at the minute, and Virtual Farmer, you could just cut, well, in fact, you could put 3 conveyors, and you could deliver it directly from the mine into your furnace. So there's lots of things once you start to understand that the map isn't as closed as it appears. One problem I've not come up with the solution for is there's some decoration. I think you see it in the second episode. There's a type of mossy dead tree stump, so it's kind of like dead wood that's rotted away, but there's not many of them, but they're dotted around in a few different areas, and you can't get rid of them. You can't, and because you can't access the map detail, you can't drop them down under the ground either, which is a bit annoying. So that little field where I was doing the log prep or the wood chipping, there's 2 on there, one of which is going to be kind of right in the middle of whatever we plant, but it's, you know, it is what it is. We'll work around it. But with that said, we're almost done here. So I think that's where we'll leave it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been terrific. I'm enjoying getting to grips with Maze Plus. It's not seeming quite as baffling now, although I'm still got to learn what some of the icons mean, and I think there's much experimentation with how we choose to feed our cows, but that's all ahead of us. Exactly, Jason. No, that's definitely an option. Just can't figure out how exactly to. I haven't had a clever idea. Let's put it that way. So we'll just have to see how it unfolds. Some of the stuff, like it's not like I've got a whole. Excuse me. It's not like I've got a whole series planned out in my head. I quite often play an episode, and that's where the ideas come out in future episodes while I'm sitting there, you know, ploughing a field or harvesting a field. It's like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I did this or did that. That was how the whole wood chipping idea came about. It's like, oh, well, if I did it that way. So anyway, there you go. So thanks very much for joining me, folks. I've had fun. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll be back in 3 days' time to do it all again. So until then, thanks for watching. Stay safe. See ya.